Hi, Jason Pilgrim here from the Profitable Practice Podcast, where we help allied health professionals just like you empower and inspire the lives of so many more people by building bigger and better businesses. Let's go and get stuck in right now.
Yes, that's right. I did say KPAs, not KPIs. It's one of the biggest challenges is to make sure that business owners understand that KPIs, whilst they are important, they aren't actually as important as driving the team forward based on KPAs. I'm going to explain exactly how to optimize it right now, some of the lessons from some of our clients only in the last 2 weeks, and how you can get the most out of your team and the business with the right KPAs. So before we get stuck into the optimization of KPAs, I just wanted to tidy this little avenue up first and foremost. It's the fact that we need to make sure that we are dealing with KPAs in our team and with our team rather than just KPIs. So and the reason why I wanted to flag that, some of you might go, I know the difference, and that's great. But we did actually have one of our newer clients only last week. Now, they're a team that's got just over 20 professional team, plus obviously all the admin operations. They're a pretty big unit. They've got 32 or 34 team members. So they're a pretty big allied health team, and they do an amazing job, right? So this is not about they're terrible and they need to be good. They are already good, and we're going to take them to great. But here's the thing. They've actually done a really good job so far of managing KPIs. So they actually have KPIs set such as, like revenue, and they've got a profit goal, and they've got a specific number of clients they want each team member to see each week. And they're great because they're KPIs, key performance indicators. And without wanting to be rude, a lot of people that like to believe that they know what they're, experts as in building our businesses in the health industry always will talk about KPIs and how important they are, etc. Well, here's the thing. The KPI is just a number. It's a scoreboard. It's an output. It's what's already occurred. So if you sit down with me as an employee on a Monday morning and tell me what, how many numbers I've got and things like that, and you just measure me on KPAs, whilst yes, that is important, no, it's not going to the best way to get me to drive forward because it's something that's already happened. It's like a football team being told, hey, you lost on the weekend. And the players look at each other and they go, yeah, we know, right? Like, we know what the scoreboard said. Maybe they weren't sure over a 5-day cricket test match exactly how many runs if there wasn't a scoreboard and they didn't know who was scoring how many runs, or they didn't keep track, etc., because they're too busy. And that can happen a lot in health industries as well, right? Where the team is so busy with things and going really well that they don't actually sit there and count their numbers. So therefore, they need to be told the KPIs and they need to be told the results, etc. That's totally fine. And that's completely understandable. The challenge is that when we try and drive team members based on KPIs, we tend to lose the fact that you can't coach someone, empower someone, inspire someone, get people to do more of the right things to achieve that result when you're only talking and measuring on the result. So whilst we measure on the fact that we've lost the game of football 3 weeks in a row, that doesn't help us moving forward. What we need to do is work on the activity, the key performance activity that drives that result. So the KPA becomes a lot more important to build the team from, and we need to optimize the KPA, and that becomes a heck of a lot more important than the actual KPI itself. Because if you think about a football team's coach doesn't dwell on, we need to win, we keep losing, we've got to win. That would be basing it on a KPI. What a football team and what a football coach does is they'll actually pull the forwards and the backs aside. They'll talk to the forwards about how many runs they've had, how many post-contact meters. So once they go into the contact, and I'm talking about rugby league here, for instance, or rugby union, like how far they actually make contact and still get to advance the football before the tackle was completed. They talk about run meters, how many meters they ran with the football, how many tackles they made, for instance. Now, if you compare that to the backs, they turn to the backs and they talk about how many run meters the fullback has made, how many possessions they've had, how involved the winger was or the outside backs were in getting involved with the plays. The forwards, they talk about offloads, how many times they got into a tackle and managed to get the ball free to actually enable themselves to get the ball downfield. And so what the coach does is the coach actually talks to the football team and breaks it down based on possession and what's most important, and coaches them based on the activity that drives the actual output. And if the players can actually improve the activity, the KPA, focus on that, train for that, monitor that, and ultimately they are, again, coached from that, they are going to then notice that the KPI is going to become a lot easier to obtain, i.e., winning the match. Now think about that with your own team in the health industry, medical industry. Looking at what are the activities that are going to drive a better net result for your team is more crucial than actually knowing what the KPI is. Like ultimately, you could run your business without even having KPIs. Who cares ultimately how many exact numbers of consults were seen last week from the team and the exact utilizations and the exact cancellations and the exact profit margins, etc. Yes, they are important, and I'm not being negligent on that or blasé, but the fact is if you're going to want to optimize your team's growth and the ability for your team to be able to do more, have more impact, create more scale and grow, then you have no choice but to focus your efforts, your discussions, and the activities that your team complete each week on the actual KPAs itself. So you need to be able to identify those, and you need to know what drives things forward. So let me give you some examples, because ultimately you need to be able to optimize this, and that's what I wanted to be able to talk about in this podcast. So if we're going to optimize our KPAs, first things first is we need to actually identify what those key performance activities are. Now, for some businesses, they work very heavily on referral zones, and they have referral partners and medical centers or corporate partners that they rely on to actually drive income, new clients, referrals into their clinic. So if that actually is one of the key areas of growth and scale for you and your team, then you need to work out what is going to be the best way to optimize that. So completing things like proper, doctor's visits and relationship building activities and networking activities. And that doesn't mean going and buying Subway sandwiches and walking and presenting to doctors and all that old school rubbish. That doesn't work. But there are 2 or 3 avenues that we know and we teach with our clients all the time that are absolute killer, that work that relationship, and they sew up more referrals and more clients being sent to you. So if you identify that that's one of the areas in your business and your team that needs to be looked at, what you need to be able to do is measure that and put in place the strategies so that your team members firm those relationships up, work those referral channels and those network avenues each and every week. Because the more you work them and the more you focus on that activity, just like a tackle bust or an offload for a forward in football, the more you will actually drive a better result. So as a net result, with those type of strategies, you actually get more new clients being sent to you each week from those referral partners, which is a perfect avenue for you to be able to now grow. Which means that your marketing and the time you invest into that or with your team is now more effective. You're getting more clients for less dollars spent, less hourly rates being sent across. And so as a net result, you're actually a lot more efficient and effective with your marketing. And you also have the avenue to change more lives, create more impact. Your business will naturally have more consults. They'll have higher spec, higher utilization. You're going to have better revenues. Therefore, your profit margins are higher as well. So when you have all of those things, from one simple key performance activity, you actually drive a much better KPI on 2 or 3 or 4 different angles. So that's where the focus and the coaching and the work with your team needs to be focused on the activity on the KPA, not on the KPI. So first of all, if you want to optimize this and get some really simple growth and development in your business, work out what those key performance activities are, all right? And then drive things forward from there. Maybe it's going and doing presentations with the PHN or chronic disease groups. Maybe it's actually going and working with another allied health professional so you can better refer between different clinics if you've got certain specialties that you can work with. What actually is it? Some people might have a really good digital platform and they know that social media becomes a big one for them. And in that case, they need to actually optimize that. They need to sit down with the team and work out better content, more engaging content, how to actually not rely on, Facebook ads and spending money to actually get better organic reach. How can we actually get ourselves and our authority in front of more people with as little sort of effort and time and money spent? And it's very, very simple to do that on every level. So for these clients of ours last week, we literally sat down. It was only like 3 days ago that we actually sat down at the end of the week, and we worked out the fact that they had really good structures, great growth and good teams and all of these, fantastic outcomes and impact. But ultimately, they were still trying to get their team to drive forward based on see more clients. This number needs to be higher. Let's work out how to get more by doing less. But that's all the KPI. That excites a team owner and a CEO and a founder and a board director, etc. But it doesn't drive the mentality of the vast majority of practitioners. It's about outcomes and it's about impact. So when we can actually focus the time and energy and attention and ultimately the money on the key performance activities, it's more heartfelt, it's more genuine. It's more about building relationships and referral partners and working into the avenue where the leads are going to come in more, where you're going to be able to invest more time and energy with each client. So as a net result, we get better outcomes. It makes practitioners feel like we're giving more because we are, and we have greater impact. But by focusing on the activity, you always drive a better result, a better outcome. The scoreboard looks better. The KPIs get hit. So go and work out what the KPAs are first and foremost, and then look for at least 2 or 3 avenues that you can guide your team on and focus the attention to optimize the activity. That KPA becomes so much more efficient and effective. And as a net result, you'll always drive a better KPI result for you and the team and your clients. Hope that helps, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Cheers for now.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.